Hey everybody, Brock Frady here, helping you enjoy your ride. In today's video, we're going to take a look at this 2021 Ford F150 King Ranch Hybrid. We're going to take a look at the inside, the outside. We're going to end up in the driver's seat where I'm going to show you how all the buttons work. But before we begin, I would like to say a huge thank you to Impex Auto Sales in Greensboro, North Carolina for the opportunity to film this beautiful F150. I'll be sure to leave all of Impex Auto Sales contact information, including their website, in the description box below. Let's jump right in. At first glance, this looks just like a regular F150. Maybe not regular, but pretty loaded. Nice dressed up F150. You can obviously see the big King Ranch emblem right there on the side of it. So you know it's a nice vehicle. But the thing about this one is that it's got that hybrid engine under the hood, or the hybrid powertrain under the hood. Check out these side steps. I have the key on me, and look. I didn't do anything. All I did is I approached it with the key, and the side steps popped right out. And they'll go back up in time, or I can just hit the lock button and they went right back up. You can see on the bottom of your key fob that there's a button that says push it 2 times and the gate will come down. So look at that. The gate came right down. And here's a cool feature. This has been on the Ford trucks for a while. You can push here, pull it out. It drops down a step. Then you can pull this yellow button out and up. And that gives you the ability to have a step ladder right up to the truck bed. You have a set of plugs right there. And that set of plugs is connected to a generator feature that's in the F-150. And I'll show it to you when we hop inside. But once that generator feature is active, you can go here to this set of plugs and you can actually use it just like a generator. So if you're on a workspace, there you go. That is just, that is so cool. You guys may be used to that, but I've never seen that on a truck before. I absolutely love that. I stand corrected. That's not a camera, that's a light. That's a light for the camera. And I imagine you could also kind of double that as a light for whenever you're hooking this stuff up at night, for if you're trailering something. Here's the key for the F-150. You can see at the very top is unlock. Below that is lock. Below that one is 2 times with a circle in it, and that's to start it. And then below that one is the 2 times, that's the tailgate that we took a look at. And then your panic alarm is right here at the very bottom. You can see that there is a button below the panic alarm, and when you press that, you can see that it exposes a key inside the key fob that's embedded, and it's a key shank. And in the event that the battery in the F-150 or the key fob dies, you can actually use that right there inside the door. That's a nice little fail-safe backup system there. In order to use the F-150 and to actually drive it, all you have to do is to approach the vehicle. The doors are locked right now. I have the key fob on my person, and I just touch the handle and open, and it instantly responds. Drops down the beautiful side running boards for me, and there we go. Check out that gorgeous interior. I absolutely love that. Before we get started on this gorgeous interior, we're going to take a look at the heart of the beast. And now let's start it up. And yes, it's actually running right now. That sounds more like a fan that's running right now, but right now, and that's to cool it off, because we did a little bit of fast driving on the highway to get over here. But right now the engine is not actually running. What's running is that fan. But it actually is running, or everything is powered, because it's utilizing electricity right now. So you don't actually have any exhaust that's coming out of the F-150. But right now it is ready to drive. It's ready to go. a sensation that you may have to get used to if you've never owned a hybrid vehicle before, is when you initially get into the truck and you push the power button and you start it up and you don't actually feel anything, you don't actually hear anything because the gasoline engine doesn't cut on yet. That doesn't mean you can't go ahead and go, put it in drive and take off. Everything will, you know, start up and everything, but right now, whenever we started the truck, it had enough electricity in the battery stored in order to operate everything without the engine immediately cutting on. And however, it was sitting here for a couple of minutes and the engine just cut on. So now the engine is almost acting like a generator in order to power or to build the charge on the battery back up and to help support the battery itself. So the battery and the engine actually work kind of in tandem together to support one another to do everything that the truck needs to do based on what you tell it to do. Pretty cool stuff. I hope that made sense. A couple of minutes ago, I showed you one of the coolest features about the key fob, and that was how to drop the tailgate, right? So I did this and I just thought I was being cool. There goes the tailgate. So I was walking around the truck just a second ago and I thought, I wonder if it will put the tailgate up too. There's no way. So I hit it again. It does. It raises the tailgate as well. That's just ridiculous. One of the things that I noticed when I got out of the truck, and I opened the back door I was kind of taking a tour of it, is just how massive that back seat is. So I want to show you something. I'm 6'3". I'm going to get comfortable in the driver's seat. Let's go ahead and do that now. Golly, by the way, the interior of this thing is like rivals any luxury vehicle, period. So here are all of your functions for your driver's seat, okay? I'm gonna get comfortable in exactly the position that I would drive it, say, around town or on a long trip. Okay, so this is comfortable for me. I like this. This feels good. Take a look at how much room is back there when somebody my height, 6'3", has their driver's seat adjusted for. Now look at that. So this is a 6 foot plus person driving, 6 foot plus person riding. Is that crazy? That is a huge amount of room. So you can actually easily fit 3 adults in the back seat while you're driving. So it's truly a 5-passenger vehicle. So take a look here. You have heated seats in the back, and these are going to be on the outboard positions, heated seat controls. Then you have a regular lighter adapter plug there, and then you have all kinds of plugs here. That's a lightning cable, and then a USB charging cable for an Android if you have Android. And then there is another power outlet there. Oh, look at that. There's a light strip right there. 2 cup holders right here. And then, like I said, all of this material is just so quality. I imagine that is a simulated wood grain material here, but it looks really nice. Cup holders everywhere. Bang & Olufsen stereo, and that thing will absolutely just thump. It's a fantastic stereo system. We tested it out on the way over here. Nice tinted windows in the back. You can see the tint on those windows, how much tint there is there. If you were moving big items that you did not want to put in the truck bed, but you wanted to put inside, you didn't want to expose them to the weather or whatever, all you have to do is take this seat bottom and lift it up, and it locks in place. That's super intuitive. It does the same thing on the other side as well. Then you've got a cool little box right here with an unlock symbol. What is that, you say? So let's just say you had some tools that you needed to haul, or something that you needed to put in place that doesn't need to move around. You can see here there's an unlock icon. When you move it over here, it's locked, and that makes it so that this door does not raise up. When you slide it over here to unlock, you can see over there it matches. See how that one's moving too? So now it's unlocked, and it makes it so that you can lift this door, and then these little things come out right here, and you can then lift this lever here, and now that's locked in place, and it's a box. Ford has just taken a little bit of extra space here, put in some simple components that move in levers and everything, and little locks, but they're utilizing this space to make it so that you actually have usable space as a little box here, and that's actually quite wide. It's basically the width of the interior cabin floor, and you can now store big items there. Now, I wonder if, hold on, let's see this. And look, God, that is genius. You see how the curvature of this panel is? It matches the curvature of the seat bottom. So you can actually use this and have this up and extended and have this box in place while the seat bottoms are down. So now I'm gonna pull this tab to bring the seat bottom down. And look, that is absolutely awesome. So I can, yeah, now I've got storage space under the seat. Fantastic. I know you guys are going to think I'm absolutely silly for getting so excited about this next feature, but this is ridiculous. It is absolutely ingenious, and I cannot believe I've never seen this in a vehicle before. But leave it to Ford with all this amazing technology. You guys don't forget about the simple things. And I just look. Getting in the car or the truck, and I saw this button right here, and I thought, I don't know what that is, so I'm gonna push it. And then I pushed it. And then my life was changed. That is the coolest thing in the world. But the reason that folded down, and I'm like, oh, that's cool, you can get it out of your way or whatever, but there's more. There's a switch right here in the glove box, in the back of the glove box. You push it, boom, now we have a desk. How crazy is that? I absolutely love that feature. And then you can just take this when you're done writing, doing all your work, and you can just leave that down. That is the coolest thing in the world. And then I can just press it back up. Jeez, that's incredible. Here's one of the things that's kind of unique about this though. It's a little bit weird. You can see a positive and a minus, plus and minus. This thing actually has a 10-speed automatic transmission. Look at this. I'm gonna put it in drive. And then look down here, 10 speeds. Now I've read in a couple of reviews where people says that it hunts and pecks in those lower first 4 gears because of all the gears that it has to pick from, but whatever. I did not feel that sensation at all when I was driving it. And so that's where this comes in. You can see M, and that's manual, and you can see the D is highlighted right there. I'm gonna press the M, and now it says M1, and so now I can shift using the plus and minus button right here. So it's kind of like I can shift it manually, but once this is engaged in M, I can go plus and minus, and it will show up right there. This is a little bit unique. There's the button that's right here to press to engage. So normally I'm used to pushing the lever here and pushing this in and then engaging it forward and backward. But for this, since you have the plus and minus on the left side, you have to press this button to put it into a drive mode, reverse or park or whatever. Over here on a panel in front of your knee while you're sitting in the driver's seat is a whole beautiful bank of buttons. I love banks of buttons because it means it's got cool electronics. There's a light that's going to be embedded in the mirrors, and so this is for the light on the outside of the driver mirror, passenger mirror, and then right here is for your tailgate release. So you can see I'm going to push that, and it says tailgate ajar. So right now the tailgate is going down, and you can actually kind of feel it when it goes down all the way down. Then you can push it again, and the tailgate goes right back up. Golly, you don't even have to get out of the truck to drop and raise the tailgate. And then moving down the bank of buttons, you can see there's a button here, and that's for the bed light. That's for the tail or the gas tank release. And then you got a little dial for your lights, and this is all lights off, parking lights, automatic high beams, and then regular headlights. That's usually the place where I drive, just parking lights on. And this is going to be to raise and lower the brightness of the interior gauge cluster lights. Parking brake, so you pull it on. And then this button here is going to adjust your gas pedal and brake pedal. You can see they're moving in right now. Very cool. So this thing is super customizable. Over here on the left side, you can see that you have 1, 2, 3, unlock and lock. And this is going to actually allow you to memorize your mirror controls, your seat controls, and also your steering wheel controls. And I just pressed 1, and whoever was driving this thing before had a weird seating position for seat number 1. All you need to do is to set your steering wheel, and your steering wheel control is going to be right here. This multi-directional keypad, up, down, in, and out. That is super nice. And then you're going to set your seat controls, and then you're going to set your mirror controls, and then you can actually put them in memory in this bank right here. So you can just press that one and hold it, and it says memory save. So it's really, really easy to do. And then if somebody else gets in and they want to take over position number 1, it's easy. You don't have to undo it or anything. You just set everything the way you want it, and then just press and hold 1. Then you got 2, then you've got 3. Then over here on the left side, you can see this is the button to fold your power mirrors in. There you go. And then this is the button that is going to lock the control for the windows. Multi-directional keypad to change the direction of your rear view mirror. And then continuing down, you can see that your control here for the window, it says A, and that's because it's automatic. So it's automatic 1 touch down and up. That is not the case for the rear windows. The door handle is right here, so you just squeeze that there to get out of the vehicle. Pretty easy. Nice King Ranch label right there, embossed. And then you can see down here there's a ton of storage all right there inside the door panel. Here's my phone. That's my lovely wife. But the reason I'm showing you this is because of a fantastic feature for charging your cell phone in the F150. All you do is take your cell phone with your lovely wife on it, and then you can just plop it down there, and then boom, charges. Or you can take your cell phone and you can put it right here, and it just holds it in place right there. Fantastic feature for it. Over on the left side of the steering wheel, you're going to see a bank of buttons here, and then you're going to see a bank of buttons over on the right side of the steering wheel as well. On the right side, you can see OK and up and down. Whenever you press these up and down arrows, you can see right there in the very middle is what that controls. Then right here is your cruise control. And so this is going to be radar cruise control. So I can press this, and once I press this, that little icon under the speedometer comes up, and it looks like the truck. And then I'm going to press this icon, and this actually measures the distance that it's going to maintain, that the truck is going to maintain between me and the vehicle in front of me. I'm going to be pressing this, so check this out. So you can see there, that's the furthest distance. Next, next, and that's the closest distance. So what you can do is determine the speed at which you're going to be using your radar cruise control on the highway, and then you can determine the distance that you want to maintain, because I have a feeling that if you maintain it at the furthest distance away, that's going to be really far away from the next vehicle. And so you may want to do something kind of in between. And so, but that's going to be based on your feel and your level of comfort and safety right there. Volume here for your radio or audio, and then voice controls are right here. So I'm going to press this and set the temperature. Right now the temperature is set at 68 degrees. You can see that digital readout inside the dial. Set the temperature to 72 degrees. And then you can see right here, it set it to 72 degrees. Now we're looking at the dash. This is located directly under the big old screen up there. And you can see on the top, you have audio controls. So these are going to be your physical buttons for volume and to tune, and then settings. And this is all to your sound settings like tone settings, balance, fade, sound mode, all that. Then right here is going to be different modes. So this is how to change the mode of the stereo. So let's say right now I'm listening to satellite radio. I can press it and it'll go AM, FM, satellite, all that stuff. And then this button actually cuts the entire screen off. So check this out. I can press that. It'll show me the time. It'll show me the date. I'm going to press it again and it cuts the whole screen off. Now I can actually press it to cut the screen on again, or I can just touch the screen right there and then boom, it comes right back on. This is track forward or track back, track forward, play and pause. And then dropping down here, you can see two big silver dials on either end of the climate settings. So this is all climate right here. This is absolutely awesome too, because you have air conditioned seats, you have three-way air conditioned seats, three-way heated seats, heated steering wheel, manually control the fan speed up and down, and then right here is max defrost, rear defrost, fan mode or direction, auto, and it actually has a 3-level auto climate control system, and this is recirculate, AC, and max AC. And I like how the digital readout is actually located in the middle of this dial here. That's really nice, but it also pops up real big and pretty on the big screen there. This is going to be all of your drive modes. So you have 2 high, 4 high, 4 auto, 4 low. There's another bank of buttons right up here at the very top above the navigation screen, and this is one of the coolest ones. So I just press that and it says Pro Power Onboard, and that cuts on and off Pro Power Onboard. And what that does is that has to do with the generator, the plugs that I showed you in the truck bed. That's Pro Power Onboard. You can see right here, Pro Power Onboard warning. In generator mode, your engine will continue to run to supply power to the outlets. Only use it when the vehicle is outside. So that's how you activate that. And you can see right here how many watts it has right now, all that stuff. Camera system, all right here. And you can see, you can drop that down and you can see the different camera locations. So this is all around, like a 360 camera, and that's right there. And then you can go here, that's just the front camera. That's the front cameras themselves. And then that is the bed camera. And you can see here, if you're backing, this is a grid line to let you know where the trailer hitch is. 360. Auto park brake is ready, so that automatically will engage the parking brake. Hazard lights are all here. Traction control off is here. And then right here is your, this feature basically, it says hill descent control right here on the dash. When I press that, hill descent control off and ready, and then you can see a little icon in the bottom corner. We definitely do not need that right now, but hill descent control is, as the name implies, it helps you control the vehicle when you're descending down a hill, like really rocky and craggy stuff. It's basically going to utilize braking and gas by itself. So all you do is steer with hill descent control, and it's going to safely bring you down a nasty hill. Now, about this whole big screen, this is super nice, and it's very, very easy. I love what all it looks like. It looks very clean, very simple. The colors are all nice and easy on the eyes. But you have the buttons that are all down here that control everything inside the screen. So you have audio here, very easy. All of your different selections for satellite radio are all right here. And then you can see over here, you can actually mix your stations, FM stations, AM stations, and satellite radio all down here on the bottom. Then you have phone, nav, Pro Power Outlet. There's generator mode. I've actually got that on, so I do believe the outlets in the bed are active right now, or are powered. Apps. And so these are going to be like a subscription-based situation for your apps. Oh, do you see that? That switches the screens right there. That's kind of neat. So if I want to see the right side as on the full section, man, I can drag it also. That's the coolest. Back to apps. And then settings. This is what I would really recommend you going in and spending some time in when you first get this vehicle. Really, or any Ford vehicle that has the settings screen. I really recommend going in and getting a lay of the land as far as these are all concerned, because these are all going to be how you kind of customize the vehicle to the way you want it to work. There's no reason to have all this technology if you don't know how it works. So this is all sound, clock, phone list, connectivity. Of course, you have Wi-Fi, and then all of these different things. Oh, these are like quick access. Look at that. That is just the coolest. So here's one of the things that I really recommend doing first, because this technology can be a little bit overwhelming. Go right here to the owner's manual, and I've already done this while I've been in the vehicle. You can go to any of these types of things, and you can go and watch videos. And let's just say we want to go to doors, windows, and keys. And look, there's all kinds of different videos that you have all right there. Isn't that great? I just put it in reverse, and listen. And here's why it's making that sound. I didn't even think about it. But because it's a hybrid, right now it's operating on electricity. So there's no engine sound. So it's totally silent. Watch. There's literally no sound that's coming out of the engine exhaust or anything. So it's doing this tone to let people around me know that there's a vehicle that's moving around them, and to watch out. That's going to be especially helpful if there's a person that's blind or something that's around the vehicle and you're going in reverse. It lets them hear that there's a vehicle around them. What a great idea, Ford. So let's look at this bank of buttons right here. Here is a little window that is in the very back. I'm going to flip that switch now, and look, it opens that back glass. Pretty nice. But this is the one that I'm most excited about. This right here. So this is for your panoramic glass roof. And watch this. That's the cover. And the whole roof is glass. Is that not incredible? Okay, so as I mentioned, this thing has obviously a hybrid powertrain, which is a gasoline engine paired with an electric motor or electric set of motors. And that gives you an unbelievable amount of torque, because electricity has an unlimited power band. And this is what it feels like. Good Lord. That is insanity. And to think that's coming out of a power plant that is extremely fuel efficient. And hold on, I want to try to do that again. Okay, here we go. Now that may not seem like it's very fast to you because you're watching the video, but if you were here with us in this truck, you would be like, my gosh, that's crazy that kind of power, that kind of pull and torque is coming out of a F-150. That is absolutely awesome. The other thing too is that this thing is extremely quiet because you don't have the regular sound output from an engine kind of struggling and everything, because of the fact that you've got the assistance from the hybrid battery pack that's assisting the engine. The engine actually doesn't have to work as hard. So like I said before, they work in concert perfectly with one another in order to accomplish the mission. So it's kind of a unique situation. Plus, I don't know if it has to do with the fact that this thing's a King Ranch or whatever, but it's got such a quiet cabin. I don't know if there's extra sound dampening materials in the cabin because of the King Ranch package, but it's super, super quiet while you're driving. So you've got the combination of a luxurious vehicle, you've got power, efficiency, safety, fuel economy, and it's a truck. Yeah, so that's that. Incredible machine. Okay, this is what 70 miles an hour feels like in this thing. You see what I mean by how quiet it is? It is hard to believe that I'm going 70 miles an hour right now in a truck. It's not supposed to be this way. The one thing that I noticed that when I was getting on the highway is the incredible amount of instant torque that is available when you press on the gas. So when you're gassing it, when you need to use it, you're getting onto a highway, there is no hesitation, and that's because of the hybrid drive system. The battery powered nature of the system gives you instant torque whenever you need it, on demand right now. And I do have to say that it is a little bit awkward through the first 4 or 5 gears, but that's just something that you need to get used to. You have to get used to the hybrid drive system anyways, but overall, unbelievable power and torque. Okay, that's going to do it for our look at the 2021 Ford F-150 Hybrid. I absolutely love this vehicle, and I would buy it right now if I had the money to do it. I would like to say a huge thank you to Impex Auto Sales in Greensboro, North Carolina, for the opportunity to film this glorious machine. I'll be sure to leave all of Impex's contact information, including their website, in the description box below. But remember, the most important thing of all, have a wonderful day, everybody.